So the highly anticipated Crimson Desert is finally out. Lots of people seem to be having fun with it. I personally had a lot of fun with it as well in my limited playthrough, and I figured why not do some testing with it and kick things off with what is the poster child of this generation of video cards, the RX 9070 XT. Gonna have some fun with this one, so let's get into it. Hey, what is going on, guys? Danny here. Welcome back to the channel, and I hope you're all doing well. So Crimson Desert's finally out. I figured I'd just do some hardware testing with this game. And what better way to start off than testing with one of the most popular GPUs of this generation, the RX 9070 XT, YouTube's and Reddit's poster child. And, you know, I'm going to be going through 3 different resolutions with this graphics card. We'll do 1080p testing, 1440p, and 4K. And I'll be showing you guys the settings that I'm using, and we'll configure around the settings, play around with it, and see what kind of performance we get. Figure a lot of people are interested in seeing benchmarks and performance numbers, maybe specifically for my system, because you guys know I do a little bit of tuning. The RX 9070 XT is going to be overclocked. It is actually overclocked. And my 9800 X3D test system, that's all tuned as well with the memory and everything. But I wanted to just say a few words about Crimson Desert because when this game came out, there was a lot of division, especially from like the game journalism side, right? There were some outlets that gave it a very high score, 9.5 or 9 out of 10s, and then some outlets that were giving it a 5 out of 10, right? So there seems to be a lot of division. I haven't had an extensive amount of time to play this game. I've only played like 2-3 hours of it. So far, I've been having quite a bit of fun. This definitely makes me feel like, yeah, going back and playing Skyrim, you know, from the old high school days. I did see Luke Stevens' review, and I definitely agree with his point on that. It does definitely make you feel like, you know, you getting dropped into a world kind of like Skyrim, and then, you know, you're just figuring it out as you go and explore things. And it's interesting because when it comes to game journalism, I think there's a lot of hypocrisy there because a lot of the criticisms that this game got, it's the same sort. Those were the same points that games like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom got glazed for, right? And I've played those games, you know, as a big Zelda fan. I definitely wanted to do my playthroughs of those games. And while they were decent games, for Zelda games, they were pretty mediocre or lackluster. I would have definitely preferred a more traditional game. But Crimson Desert, you know, it's a very expansive game. Seems to borrow a lot from games like Breath of the Wild, Elden Ring, and other adventure games, Assassin's Creed, what have you. And it seems to kind of meld all of that together. Like I said, I have to do more of an extensive playthrough about it. But, you know, I figured I'd give you guys my opinions on that. It's a game you definitely have to try for yourself. I would say ignore, you know, all of the criticism and critiques from all the game outlets and journalism out there and just try it out for yourself. You might like it or you might hate it. But yeah, I mean, I figure I might as well just do some hardware testing considering how much people are interested in this game. All right, so what we'll do first is we'll do some 1080p testing. And what I'm going to do is I'll show you guys the settings that I'm actually running. So I'm not someone who's going to be, you know, maxing this game out. That's never been my stance, and if you guys want, I'll link a video where I talk about why max or ultra settings are just stupid, because most of the time, when you compare those settings to high or a mixture of medium-high, the difference, it's not really that noticeable. You don't really get a big tangible benefit to your experience, but I find that in some cases, the performance drop is super dramatic. Sometimes in cases of like 50%, while, you know, visually the difference might be like 5 or 10%. I don't know. All of this is subjective, right? If you're someone who wants to max out the game and enjoy all of that eye candy, definitely, you know, go for it. Me personally, I like to get myself a balance between performance and visuals, right? And this game, you know, on high and a mixture of high and ultra settings, it looks fine. So as you guys can see, most of my stuff here is on high settings. I do like to max out texture quality or set it as high as possible. Ultra looks fine. You don't have to jump to cinematic. I found it's not that big of a difference, if at all. But yeah, most of my stuff here is on high settings. Ray tracing is actually enabled. I find that in this game, actually, ray tracing is kind of essential. The default off lighting actually looks pretty atrocious. It looks really flat. But yeah, the ray tracing definitely helps. The other thing that is also, I think, kind of essential, and it's a drawback on AMD cards I found, is the ray reconstruction or ray regeneration. which does fix up a lot of the lighting as well with ray tracing even turned on, and also denoises it. But we'll take a look at it as well. The other thing too is post-processing stuff like motion blur, depth of field, all of that I just don't like. So I've set that at 2, set that at low. But yeah, well, let's jump into the game now, and I'll show you guys what the performance is like with these settings. Alright guys, so we're in the game, and we're in the opening section here where you make your way over to Hernan after being like resurrected from the dead. Like I said, I didn't get too far into it, but we'll take a look at performance here. This is kind of like an open area on the outside of Hernan, and then we'll make our way into town. But, you know, at 1080p, with these settings, you guys can see performance. We're getting around 130 FPS with the 9070 XT. This is overclocked. Actually, I'll turn on the lows as well, so that way you guys can see what performance is like. It's not too bad. It is definitely stable. And yeah, you know, ray tracing is turned on. But if you guys saw some of the demos that people were showing, I think Digital Foundry did a visual deep dive as well, and they said that, you know, in order to really make the best out of ray tracing, you need to enable stuff like ray regeneration. But I found that on the AMD side, it's just atrocious. Like, if we turn ray regeneration on, where are we? I have to get used to these menus. Right here. AMD FSR Ray Regeneration. If we enable this, look at what happens to our frame rate. I'm gonna reset the numbers there. Look, there you go. We've lost like 100 FPS, which is absolutely insane. I mean, the lighting definitely does look a little bit better. It is noticeable. I don't know why that guy's chasing me. But yeah, that's pretty crazy. Because if you saw the comparisons, ray regeneration does fix up a lot of the way the lighting behaves, how it bounces off of objects, and fixes up the shadows. But I don't know if it's worth 100 FPS. That's wild to me. Yeah, I wouldn't play the game like this, to be honest. It's way too much of a performance tax.
Learn some decorum.
Oh, I want to pick up the cat too.
Like, even if we turn on upscaling as well, upscale mode, FSR 4.1, which is nice that they've added the latest one. We're on 1080p, so we don't want to go too low. We do native AA, that's interesting. Yeah, if we turn on FSR upscaling 4.1 in quality mode, reset the numbers again. Okay, so we do get a bit of a performance uplift. I find it does actually sharpen things a bit. Maybe a little bit too over sharpened at 1080p. But this definitely does now make the game playable with ray regeneration. But keep in mind, like, we're at 1080p, and like, people who are getting the RX 9070 XT, I take it a lot of these people are gaming at 1440p and 4K as well. So now that we have upscaling turned on, I'm curious, what happens if we turn off ray regeneration? And there you go. Our FPS shoots up by like 80, 90 FPS. It's pretty wild how performance heavy ray regeneration is on the AMD side. So when I did my first playthrough, or when I did my initial playthrough, I was actually playing this on my 4K OLED system, which has an RTX 4090. And I was playing at 4K using DLSS 4.5 in quality mode. And I'm actually going to be doing a performance test with the 4090 as well. That will be a separate video. But I noticed that the performance tax when using ray reconstruction wasn't nearly as bad as what I'm seeing here on the AMD side, which is really unfortunate. I don't know if this is something AMD can fix, or if it's, you know, this is an AMD sponsored title as well, which is hilarious because from some of the benchmark numbers I've seen out there, and the NVIDIA counterpart GPUs seem to be performing quite a bit better. I think like the 5070 Ti, from what I saw on Tech Power Up's website, was like a good 15-20% faster than the 9070 XT. So I mean, hey, I mean, if AMD can work with the developers and optimize performance, or even just fix up that performance penalty with Ray Regeneration, that'll be huge. But as the way things stand, I really wouldn't recommend using Ray Regeneration. I mean, the game doesn't look horrible. It still looks totally acceptable. You know, it still looks nice. Still a lot of high fidelity in the environments. So you know what? Now what we'll do is let's move on to 1440p. All right, guys. So now we're at 1440p. Okay, that guy got mad. So I'll show you guys same settings, right? Ray tracing's still on. But yeah, we're at 1440p. Upscaling's off right now. Ray Regeneration is off right now as well. And I'll just show you guys what the performance is like without all of that. And it's not bad, you know, seem to be getting around 110 FPS. Lows in the 90s. Very, very playable.
Are you fucking blind? At ease, Wayfarer.
Yeah, performance is really solid. Like if I was daily driving a 9070 XT and I was playing this game, these would be the settings I would be playing at. I do have a 1440p monitor for my desktop rig, so this is how I would be playing the game with these settings. But if we turn on FSR upscaling, I know at high resolutions, you know, upscaling works better. Leave it on quality mode. Set the numbers there. All right, so seem to be getting a bit of a decent performance bump there, even on quality mode. Before we were averaging what, like 110, 115 FPS. Now we're in the 140s, the high 130s. Now we're in the mid 120s, but there is definitely a bump in performance.
You're not nice at all.
And there is definitely an uplift in sharpness too. In some cases though, I feel like it's a little bit too sharp.
Hey, I see you. Don't be stingy.
Careful.
What if we turn on Ray Regeneration? Reset the numbers. Yeah, there you go. See, so we're still using FSR upscaling in quality mode, FSR 4.1, but now we're back to, you know, sub 60 FPS. And I mean, if you have like a monitor with FreeSync, variable refresh rate, you might be able to tolerate it, but I don't know. This is just such a big performance tax.
Well, the moment he leapt over me, time to...
I will say though that the game has pretty stable lows for how expansive it is. You know, there's been a number of games I've played and tested out, a lot of open world games where there's just a jittery mess when it comes to the lows. There's always shader compilation starters. So far for this game, it's been pretty solid on the CPU side of things. And by the way, if you're wondering which model of the Sapphire or which model of the 9070 I'm using is, it's the one from Sapphire, the 9070 XT Pure. I did do a full review on it as well last year, so that video is on the channel. Feel free to check it out. But yeah, overall performance at 1440p, still very playable. Like I said, definitely turn off Ray Regeneration. The performance tax is way too heavy. But if you're using a mixture of high and ultra settings, still totally playable. And FSR 4.1 is pretty nice. But let's move on to 4K next, and then see what the performance is like there. All right, guys, so we're at 4K now. I'll show you guys the settings. So what I've done to start us off at 4K is all the settings, again, still the same thing. But we do have upscaling turned off. This is native 4K, so we'll take a look at and see what the performance is like. Resetting the numbers here out in the open area outside of Hernand, and we'll make our way into the town and see what performance is like. But as you guys can see, it's pretty solid. If you're looking to enjoy this game at 4K with the 9070 XT, and you want a clean native experience, then this is what you're going to expect. If you're rocking high settings, it'll definitely be lower if you go all ultra or cinematic. Like I said, you really don't need to jump to those levels. I think high is totally acceptable in terms of performance and visual fidelity. But yeah, overall, around 60, 65 FPS. Definitely playable this way. I mean, this is still with ray tracing enabled, by the way. But we'll take a look at, you know, what performance will be like at 4K with Ray Regeneration, and then, you know, we'll try to use something like FSR upscaling to try to save performance again. Let me know what you guys think about this game too in the comments. Like I said, I haven't played it extensively as much. We'll try to get some more playtime later on today. It is a very intriguing game for sure. Yeah, I mean, we're still maintaining really good frame rates here, even in the busier town of Hernand over here.
To hell with God and...
Freak.
I forgot this game's kind of like Breath of the Wild, so you can climb, I think, right? It's pretty funny, you can just climb on people's houses and stuff. But yeah, overall performance at 4K for the 9070 XT native is not too bad. Granted, you don't use Ray Regeneration. Let's go ahead and turn that on and see what performance is like. Okay, Ray Regeneration is now enabled. Let's go ahead and reset the numbers. Oh, that is horrible. So we went from averaging 60 FPS, 60, 65 FPS. In the town, we were actually a little bit higher at 70. And as soon as we turn on Ray Regeneration, performance just absolutely craters. This is insane. Feels like a slideshow. We're getting like sub 15, 17 FPS. Yeah, this is unusable. It's unplayable at this point. Yeah, not much more to say beyond that. The results pretty much, they speak for themselves over here. Even with like FSR upscaling, let's see what happens. You know, since we're on 4K, try to be generous over here. Use it in performance mode. Yeah, see, even in FSR 4.1 performance mode, let me reset the numbers. Yeah, we're getting like 40 to 50 FPS. It's not good. Very, very interesting to see how much performance differs between NVIDIA and AMD when it comes to using stuff like Ray Regeneration or Ray Reconstruction, right? Different implementations, different AI hardware, different software optimizations. Yeah, like I would probably, like if you really want to enjoy it, yeah, you can't do X3 or X4 mode in AMD. Okay, so yeah, you basically have to utilize frame generation now. It's really jittery though. I don't know if that was just a spike over there, or if it was a loading. Nah, there it is again. So frame generation is causing some weird spikes in behavior. It's weird. Seems to have stopped, so I'm not sure if those were like loading dips, but let's try again. Let's reset the numbers and see what happens. Was not expecting that, and a game dip, but let's fight these guys. Whoa, 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 whoa. What the fuck was that? Game just turned into an absolute slideshow there. Yeah, I'm gonna turn that off and see if it's frame generation that's affecting that. Yeah, see, performance now, like, take a look at the lows. They're so much more stable now that we have frame generation off. Let me know if you guys have experienced that. It's really weird.
Greetings, my child.
Like, I know with frame generation, you need to have a decent base FPS to make it stable, and also not to incur a huge input lag penalty. But that's really strange. You don't encounter stuff like that on the NVIDIA side. I mean, I'm going to be testing this out tomorrow. And making a video about it on the 4090, so you guys will see how that works. But yeah, that's wild. I'm gonna go back into that same area where we got those dips, see what happens. Yeah, it's not happening. Looks like it's an issue with frame generation on AMD. Now what I've done is I'll reset the numbers. I disabled Ray Regeneration. Still using FSR upscaling at 4K. We're in performance mode. Game still looks pretty decent. FSR in performance mode with 4.1 is still also good. Remember guys, like they've also done quite a bit of work here. AMD has made some strides as well, just like NVIDIA has with their upscaling, 4.1 that is. Some people compare it to 4.5, or say it's like in between DLSS 4 and 4.5. And I already thought DLSS 4 looked pretty acceptable. So yeah, if you want to enjoy a nice, smooth gameplay experience at 4K, I would recommend playing like this. Get a mixture of... I love the way the NPCs react when you just bump into them. That was like the first jankiness that I noticed with this game. You can just like bump into people and they're like, just get so mad. It has like that old school like Assassin's Creed jank to it. Yeah, but you know, like I was saying, just spend some time optimizing your settings. Don't go crazy. You don't have to max out everything on cinematic. Like let's go ahead and just actually, I'm curious. Let's go ahead and just bump up everything to cinematic and see what happens. Oh, you can go from cinematic to max on lighting quality. Interesting. Let's even just bump up the post-processing and see what happens. All right, we're like completely maxed out over here. Still got FSR upscaling turned on. Go ahead and reset the numbers there. Okay, so it's not horrible. It's not atrocious.
Something for a poor wretch?
You do definitely notice the uplift in visual fidelity there. But honestly, we went from like, what, averaging from the low 100s to 60-ish FPS and our lows in the 50s. I don't know. I'd personally just keep everything on high and just bump up a few things on ultra and just call it a day. The game still looked perfectly fine to me. But you guys can let me know. Again, let me know in your comments. It's all subjective. You enjoy your experience however you guys want. Yeah, I think that's gonna wrap it up for this whole performance overview. Not super in depth, guys. Wasn't really planning on doing anything like that, but I figured, you know, some people were interested in knowing how this game performs on AMD hardware, some overclocked AMD hardware that is. So I figured I'd give you guys a bit of a brief or surface level overview on how performance works. But I recommend, you know, testing things out for yourself and seeing how it works for you. That's gonna wrap it up for this one. We'll touch base in the next video. Take care.
If you guys found this video to be informative and entertaining, then leave a like. Let me know your thoughts and comments down below. Be sure to check out the video description for cool links and ways to support the channel, such as using my Amazon affiliate link. And if you're interested in seeing more content like this, then consider subscribing. I'd greatly appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching, take care, and I'll see you in the next one.